Oh man, I got a special treat for you guys. Storm V37. You ready to run and guns? Time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Tyler with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. Storm V37. This is not original. This is mine. There's so many different shadings of this. But let's go to the spray booth. Let me show you how to paint this thing. Okay guys, for this pattern, I got the white base coat. And for those of you who are new, I don't tape off my bills. I want the overspray because that's the way Storm did it back in the day. We have burnt orange. Oh my gosh, burnt orange. You've never seen me use this color. But this is the brown. And here's the thing about Storm is over the years, if you put 2 or 3 of these brown craws together, they'll all have a different brown color to them. So that kind of makes me wonder, either they changed paints or they layered the brown. So it's hard to tell. I mean, when you're mass producing things, you kind of go with the flow, but Storm was pretty particular about their colors. I think that they layered them. So the brown is this. The belly is fluorescent red, just straight fluorescent red. And then for the eyeballs, we do the yellow and the black. Now this is done a little bit differently. Normally when you do a belly on a crankbait, you do the belly first, then you start layering everything else on top. But if you really look at the old Storms, especially like the brown crawl, is they do, there is white that is left down here, but they do the shading first, because you can tell once they start layering the belly, you can tell from the overspray what color was first, or I should say on top or whatever. But the fluorescent was definitely onto the brown. So we're going to leave the belly white, and we're going to put the burnt orange on here until I get the shade that I want for these baits. I'm not trying to match a particular brown crawl, although I do have brown crawls originally in the boxes, but those are different too. So I'm just going to do this into a shade that I think looks really good, and we'll just go from there. I'm going to go right across the base right here. I'm spraying this with very light pressure because I want to have just enough of the white belly showing. And I'm keeping my airbrush pointed away from the bill. Alright, that's a good first coat. We'll heat set this and we'll put another one on here, because the thing about these detail colors, if you put them on too thick, they tend to crackle. Don't want that unless you're going for a crackled effect. But that's a good center on that belly. And we'll put a second coat on here. Okay, now we go for our second coat. Getting a little browner, a little browner. Like I said, be careful how thick you put this on. You don't want it to crackle. So we'll heat set that, and we'll put on the third coat. Now here's the third coat. Now you see how brown that gets as you layer it? I've got a few of these in the original colors, and my favorite are the lighter browns, not the real dark browns that you run across. I think the dark browns were actually done with one coat of a dark paint. But this right here has the color of some of my favorite ones I've seen. So we'll stop here, and we'll heat set them, and go to the next step. I want to help you guys out with something here. You know, the burnt orange gives the shade that I like for the brown Craw, because once you add the black and everything, it really darkens this up. But if you want to get a darker brown, you can always do detail sepia. And you can layer that to the color you like if you like a dark brown. And I've seen some dark brown storms. That's why I'm wondering if those were the ones that were done in one shot and that was it. But these I like better. So let's go ahead and do the orange. Or, well, actually, the fluorescent red. Not really orange. Now this is straight fluorescent red. I'm going to do this in a few coats to really build that red up. Alright, here goes the second coat. You want to make sure you get down the sides a little bit because you want it to blend in pretty good. But I really do think this is how Storm did it. Because if you look at the models, it looks like the red is over the brown. And now for the third and final coat. There's just something about that burnt orange that tames that red down. But you would think they would use orange, but they didn't. They used a fluorescent red. You have to color match some stuff to kind of see what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about, but you know, it is what it is. But I like how that looks. Okay, so after everything's cured, we've got a really nice fluorescent red belly. This to me is my favorite color. I've got some darker browns that have more of an orange belly. That's okay. I like the lighter burnt orange kind of brown with the fluorescent red belly. It's just different than what you see. So what I've got here, this is the cool part. I've got my Coach Dog stencil. I've got some Wicked Black loaded up. And we'll heat set that and pull it off. Alright, here we go. Man, I'll tell you what, that really sets off that lighter brown, and then once you put the black back on it, it'll really make it come to life on that one. Let's get the rest of them caught up. Alright, so I got my pressure dialed down pretty good, between 15 and 20 pounds. And I'm going to put a black stripe down this thing. And there you go. That's all you need is just one coat of the brown or the black. And look how that thing looks. I just love that. Before I do the eyes, I just want to show you guys why I use a lighter brown. Because once you put the black on it, it really darkens that brown up. So that's why I stop at 3 coats with the burnt orange. Because that gives me the shade I'm looking for. Now for the next step. We do the eyes. I got a hair right there. Get the stuff out of your stencils, man. You don't want it to be in there. We're going to do a white base coat. And with this being a dark color, I'm going to put this white on pretty bright, just like that right there. Then after a heat set, you have that. Okay, so we'll go over it again. And this time we're going to do the Wicked Yeller. We're going to have this dialed down. And we'll do that in a couple of coats. Okay, here's coat number 2. Just to make sure I get a really good yellow on that. Man, that's nice. Now for the next step. And now for the even cooler part. Got my stencil right here. And this is for the pupils. Eyeballs, whatever you want to call them. Again, I have a low pressure. One shot. That's it. If you do too much, it'll bleed. Nice. Let's get everything done to it. And there we got it. This is the finished product. Got my decal on there. I've said this before, all this will turn clear except for just the major overspray right here once the clear coat hits it. And man, that will look like original Storm right there. So let's put a clear coat on this and let me show you what it looks like in the studio. And there you have it. Storm V37 with that fluorescent red belly, the perfect shading of brown. You want this paint dark. You don't want it real light colored or real orangey looking. You want that nice shade of brown, and to me that's the perfect dark color that still shows the stripes, the coach dog pattern, and everything else. So give this pattern a shot. So until next time, remember, new techniques are trendy, but fast never change. May the Father bless you and keep you. As always, fish on.